For the last 3 years, I've had the privilege of being associated with the core of the borderless relocalization movement. And it's got many facets and many expressions, and I don't claim to have seen the whole of it by any means. But I will share with you some of what I've seen of this quiet revolution that we're all a part of. I'm going to introduce you to a few people I've had the pleasure of collaborating with recently, and who are actively involved in facilitating this positive change. And I apologize now to all of you who I won't get to mention individually, but I think you know who you all are, many in this room, and I'm sure many in the other rooms that are sitting out there as well. Over the next few minutes, I plan to touch on the areas of changing worldviews, new media and organization, and this matter of relocalization. I was at the David Suzuki talk on Wednesday night last week, and he pointed out that how we see the world impacts directly on how we treat it. And in this quote, and this is the only lengthy piece of text that you'll get on a slide from me today, Ervin Laszlo points out that when a society reaches the limits of its stability and turns chaotic, it becomes super sensitive and responsive even to the small fluctuations, such as changes in the values, beliefs, worldviews, and aspirations of its members. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this matter of worldview, because I believe it's a significant aspect of this quiet revolution. And specifically, the worldview as it relates to eco-literacy. What I've noticed, what I see, and I think if you step back in time with me, perhaps even back to the early 90s, and remember where you were then, you would probably agree with me, and Rilke, who's sitting up in the back there, was part of his presentation, which he kindly inspired me with the other day. You would probably agree that this word sustainability is then, perhaps 15 to 20 years ago, was barely in the lexicon. And yet it's been the subject, or it's been pointed out in pretty much every presentation today, and I'm sure will be continuing through the next day and a half. I called my friend Carl Chenery the other day, and a wonderful young man who's doing extraordinary work, and asked him what he was noticing as signs of change. And he referred me to this recent milestone of the government of Ecuador putting into their constitution the rights of nature. That's a milestone. This is fundamental change. This is change from nature and world as separate from me, and the best I can do is cause least harm while getting the greatest personal benefit, to how can I be a beneficial presence in this whole system that I'm a part of? And this is not altruism. This is practical. This is not just a nice idea. This is, without a healthy ecosystem, humanity won't thrive. And I believe people are getting that message. This is a change in our understanding of what's primary. And what is primary is becoming easier to understand, because there are some wonderfully elegant descriptions of sustainability out there now. The two organizations who I've had the pleasure of working with in this area that have these wonderful examples of description of sustainability are permaculture, which states it very simply in their three ethics: world care, people care, and fair share. Right? These are fundamental, they're straightforward, they put ecology at the heart and put economy where it belongs as a subset. The other organization that I've been working with, and specifically with Maggie Lawton, Simon Harvey, who's in the audience here, and Steve Henry, all practitioners of the Natural Step, or TNS. TNS is a sustainability model rooted in scientific consensus and strategic thinking. And I first met the founder of the Natural Step, Karl-Henrik Robert, when he came to New Zealand back in the early 90s. And it was wonderful to have the last year working with those people, specifically on a project that was a collaboration between Manukau City Council, the Natural Step New Zealand, Otago Polytechnic, and specifically their Centre for Sustainable Practice, and Transition Towns. And we were involved in conversations all across the Manukau region. We were involved in engaging with people, showing them what some of the challenges are first, giving them that information, right? Setting the baseline, what's coming down the pipe in the future. How do we understand sustainability? And the Natural Step is this wonderful example. And then helping them to look at what is their preferred and plausible future. So the Natural Step talks about these 4 system conditions, which if we stay within them, it's sustainable. If we step outside them, it's simply not sustainable. The first is reduce the mining of minerals and heavy metals. Okay, so don't take more than nature can replace or process. The second is reduce the manufacture of synthetic chemicals, and don't make more than nature can easily process or make safe. Reduce destruction of the natural world, and don't break nature. So stop chopping down the forests faster than they can regrow. And make certain that we share so that no one is excluded from meeting their essential human needs. So you can see some wonderful similarities there between that model and the permaculture ethics. We were at a crossroads. Susan pointed it out beautifully. She set up this event beautifully in her opening presentation. And I'm sure many others have and will echo her sentiments. But it's time to stop tweaking things. It's not going to work. We need systemic change. We need to change our economic system. We need to change our social, our legal, our governance, our business and religious systems. We need to change our education systems. So what might an education system look like that can build eco-literacy and demonstrate actions that regenerate natural systems? And what will an economic system look like that respects the rights of nature? As more people are asking these questions and discovering that actually we share a common view in all of this, we all want what's best for the future and for future generations. I had the pleasure of meeting a very bright young woman, Elizabeth Campbell, who recently won the Prime Minister's Science Media Communication Prize. And she's on a mission to discover a new Kiwi vision and culture based on collaboration, creativity, innovation, and social best practice. And she truly is a bright woman. She is highly intelligent, and she has a great heart and an ability to make anybody feel comfortable. We had 3 hours of juicy conversation talking about this matter of collaboration and talking about examples of where people were looking to collaborate more. For example, the New Zealand Association of Scientists had their annual conference very recently, and it was a topic that was asked, or question that was asked over and over and over again by different speakers: how can we collaborate more? Because if we can collaborate, then we can start to discover the possibilities for great innovation. She also described a friend of hers, this lovely example, which I thought was very pertinent in this subject of collaboration. Man Al-Kaisi, a Canterbury University electrical engineer, and I'm sure a lot of people down in Canterbury will be recognizing that name, who through interaction with biologists in the building next door, hatched an idea that he could use a nano-imprint lithography machine to take an imprint of the wings of a black butterfly, which in turn enabled him to look at how he could create photovoltaic cells, which would be that much more efficient because they were reflecting less of the light that was hitting them. Just a great example of simple collaboration across different disciplines. So Elizabeth is crossing all these boundaries. She's out there building bridges, meeting with business people, meeting with people in government, activists, and the scientific community that she comes from. The sharing of information is so important. It is, I believe, the untapped potential that we still can draw from, is when we start to talk with each other about what's important, how can we meet the challenges of the future, and how can what you know match with what I know, and together we can build something which is even greater.